The week of terror that locked down Boston is over. Breaking tonight, more shots are fired. Police surround a boat containing the suspected terrorist, and the nation watches this reign of destruction finally end.
It's a night where I think we're all going to rest easy.
Right now at 11, the horror and the lockdown that affected thousands for hours.
All of a sudden we saw a bunch of cops going down our road really fast.
Plus, the outrage and the accusations by the suspected terrorist's own family.
He put a shame on the son in our family.
Every new breaking development right now.
Live and in HD, this is ABC7 Breaking News.
And good evening, everyone. First at 11, the breaking news of the night. The 19-year-old at the center of that manhunt following a week of terror in Boston has now been captured. And just minutes ago, dozens honored the victims at a makeshift memorial at the Boston Marathon finish line as the suspected killers have either been caught or killed. About 2 hours ago, 19-year-old Yochar Zanaev was pulled from a boat in Watertown just hours after that shootout that killed his brother, the suspected mastermind behind the attacks. Now, this video you're about to see is from shortly after Zanaev was placed into an ambulance, and the residents there in Watertown were just cheering police as this ordeal finally came to an end. And now investigators will try to learn what led to the attacks in the first place. ABC7 has extensive team coverage beginning tonight with Richard Reeve monitoring the investigation live from our newsroom. Rich?
Well, Allison, we got the word about 8:45 this evening that suspect number 2, 19-year-old Yochar Zanaev, was in custody. Now, this after thousands of police officers combed the Watertown area but found nothing. In fact, authorities were lifting the stay-in-shelter advisory, allowing public transit to go back into service. That all changed with the discovery of a boat in a backyard. There were cheers on the streets of Watertown and across the Boston area as word spread that suspect number 2, Yochar Zanaev, had been captured alive.
Excited and relieved. He's off the streets. He's on his way to the local hospital, I hear, and I'm just looking forward to listening to some answers in the following weeks.
For a police officer, a young man starting a career at MIT, and a police officer with the MBTA who almost lost his life, and for neighborhoods that lived in fear for an entire day, we are eternally grateful for the outcome here tonight.
Zanaev was taken into custody around 8:45 Friday evening. Officers closed in after a Franklin Street resident saw a large amount of blood on his boat, took a quick look, and inside saw what appeared to be a body. This after a series of gunshots, first at 7 o'clock, then around 8. Authorities confirmed there was an exchange of gunfire before Zanaev was captured.
Whatever hateful agenda drove these men to such heinous acts cannot prevail. Whatever they thought they could ultimately achieve, they've already failed. They failed because the people of Boston refused to be intimidated. They failed because as Americans, we refuse to be terrorized.
Emotional words from President Obama after an incredible 24 hours. Now, Zanaev first spotted on a 7-Eleven surveillance camera, then the fatal shooting of an MIT police officer and the dramatic violent chase that left a transit officer wounded and ended in the death of suspect number 1, Tamerlan Zanaev. So many questions tonight. The younger Zanaev in custody at Massachusetts General Hospital. Live in the newsroom, Richard Reeve, ABC 7 News.
And Rich, within the hour, the Associated Press released this photo of Zanaev as he was taken to a local hospital. Now, at last check, he is in critical condition for his injuries associated with this week's reign of terror. Well, new at 11, ABC 7 News learned some exclusive new information about the sequence of events that unfolded beginning about 7 o'clock. Tonight, ABC 7 News speaks with a man who was in a home across the street when he heard the shots fired. Our Jeff Goldberg spoke with him, and he is live in our satellite center with this breaking development. Jeff?
Well, Allison, an amazing story tonight. We spoke tonight with Will Cashman, who lives in Watertown. His fiance is actually from Silver Spring, to get his reaction to the capture. He said he was in the streets cheering police and fire like everybody else in Watertown, but during the action, it all unfolded right in front of his home.
It's one of the most intense things I've ever been through. I mean, I literally was outside, and all of a sudden, just a bunch of gunshots, were a few hundred yards away. So my heart is just pounding right now.
Like so many living in Watertown, Will Cashman stepped outside at about 7 o'clock after the lockdown was lifted. Then, in an instant, the calm was gone.
We heard multiple gunshots, and within 10, 20 seconds, we had FBI, DEA, ATF converged on this area.
Will ran back to his apartment, which is just blocks away from the home authorities closed in on near the corner of Franklin and Walnut. Once back safe at home with his fiancée, we spoke with Will as they nervously watched out the window. What are you seeing right now?
Police officers behind SUVs and cars. It looks like there's more armored police running towards the area, and there's a few others converging on a house. I mean, it's all going down like right here.
And like so many others in Watertown, Cashman is stunned to be watching a national manhunt unfold in a town where even a gunshot is a rarity.
I wouldn't live here if it was an area that would happen.
Just amazing. And like others in Watertown, Cashman has been up since this situation started unfolding early this morning at 1 a.m., almost up for 24 hours now. So they are exhausted but incredibly relieved and so grateful for the work of law enforcement in bringing this case to a close. Allison?
Okay, Jeff, also tonight, we're learning that Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's older brother, Tamerlan, was on the FBI's radar a couple years ago. Agents interviewed him back in 2011. Now, this was at the request of a foreign government. However, it's unclear which country made that request. Nothing suspicious was found at the time, and that information was passed along to the foreign government in question. New at 11, the mother of the two men suspected in this reign of terror speaks just hours after an emotional news conference by one of the men's uncles, and he lives in Montgomery County.
Of course, we're ashamed. Yes, we're ashamed. They're children of my brother.
That, of course, is just a small part of what one of Tsarnaev's uncles said outside of his Montgomery Village home. Roz Plater live in Montgomery Village with the family's fiery words tonight. Roz?
Well, Allison, that uncle who made the speech that you just played there lives in the home just behind me here. He reached out today to the victims and their families asking for forgiveness, but the mother and the rest of the family seem to be in disbelief and aren't afraid to say so. To put it mildly, the mother of the two suspects is skeptical her sons could have been behind the deadly reign of terror in Boston.
It's impossible for them, for both of them to do such things. So I'm really telling that this is a setup.
So too was their father, who spoke through a translator in Russia.
Someone framed them. I don't know who exactly did it, but someone did. And being cowards, they shot the boy dead.
Their aunt, who lives in Canada, says once she saw her nephew's pictures, she called the FBI tip line, but said she still needed proof.
For me to be convinced that these two nephews of mine committed these kind of atrocities cannot be taken lightly. Convince me.
Two of the uncles live in Gaithersburg. One said if his nephews are responsible, it's not because of religion.
What I think what's behind it, being losers, not being able to settle themselves, and thereby just hating everyone who did.
And he appealed to the nephew who was on the run.
I say, Johar, if you're alive, turn yourself in and ask for forgiveness from the victims, from the injured.
Now, the older brother has a wife and a young daughter. Tonight, the Weiss family issued a statement saying, in part, we now know we never really knew him, and our hearts are sickened by the knowledge of the horror he has inflicted. We're live in Gaithersburg. I'm Roz Plater, ABC 7 News.
All right, Roz, thank you very much. And if you'd like to watch an extended version of the interview with the uncle of the terror suspects, we invite you to log on to WJLA.com. You can look there for the link under the Hot Topics section near the top of the page. So many of you at home have been glued to your televisions, your iPads, cell phones, watching this entire ordeal over the last 24 hours. Hatzel Vela is live in Arlington with reaction from some of you who are watching the situation from the shootout to the lockdown and then to the capture of the second suspect. Hatzel?
Allison, I can tell you that we were out in Prince George's County trying to capture some video of the passing storm from earlier. We went inside a Burger King, and I can tell you folks inside were glued to the TV. Come back here to Arlington, here at Summers, the TV, half of them are on news, half of them on sports, but of course everyone's glued to the unfolding details happening in Boston. And then this new digital age, people using social media, Twitter and Facebook on their cell phones, of course trying to capture, figure out exactly what was going on north of us, following every detail that was happening in Boston.
It was wild. It was just crazy. I couldn't believe it. But very glad that he's been captured alive, might I add.
I'm just glad that it's, we'll get some answers and, they found him alive and, we'll find more information as days go by.
Because we want to find out why they did it, what was the reason behind it, and being so young, what influenced them.
Maybe there was some kind of outside influence and, I just hope that they figure out, what caused these boys to do such a thing, because it's a horrible thing.
Well, I'm glad that the Boston community now are back to normal, so it's over. So I'm happy for them.
So Allison, obviously a lot of folks glad it's over, but now asking more questions and will be paying attention, like many of us, in the coming days. Live in Arlington, Hatzavella, ABC 7 News.
Hatzel, thank you very much, and we invite you to stay with ABC 7 News for complete coverage of the attacks in Boston. We will have instant updates on WJLA.com, on Facebook and Twitter as well, and we'll have a live report from Boston coming up in just a few minutes. Well, let's get to our other big story of the night, a local story, because we are on storm watch around here. Severe storms swept through the region, so let's get right to our Chief Meteorologist Doug Hill tracking the weather for us.
Hey there, Allison. Well, the heaviest storms have moved out of the area. They were gusty storms indeed. Our storm scan shows still a fair amount of rain, but you see the back edge. It's all pushing to the east-northeast. Now, if we look close on live Super Doppler 7 radar, we have one area of fairly moderate rain moving through the district, northeast Washington specifically into Prince George's County and then just south of town, but the back edge is moving through. So over the next couple of hours, the rain will end and we'll start to see a little bit of clearing skies. Some of our exclusive weather bug data we can share with you in Glenwood, Maryland, in Howard County. Almost 2 inches of rain tonight, 1.7 inches in Mount Airy, Gaithersburg over 1.5 inches, not much less in Ashburn. And to go along with that, there was some strong wind gusts out there tonight in Waldorf at Thomas Stone High School. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts with the front going through, 55-mile-per-hour gusts at Barack Obama Elementary in Upper Marlboro. And you can see the wind speeds still had some wind gusts in the 40s and 50s widespread around the area, including Bowie at 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and in Camp Springs at Andrews Air Force Base 49. What can 52-mile-per-hour wind gusts do? Well, it can uproot trees. That happened in the 1600 block of Buchanan Street in the district this evening. We'll talk more about the wind, the weekend, and what lies ahead in the full forecast in just a couple of minutes, Allison.
We will see you then, Doug. Thank you. And we invite you to stay with us because we are monitoring every development in the capture of the Boston terror suspect. We'll have a live report from Boston when ABC 7 News returns. And we continue to follow every development tonight in our breaking news. Boston terror suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is captured in a boat in Watertown, Massachusetts. Stacey Cohan is live in Watertown now with the latest from police. And Stacey, I know you've been there throughout the day. Can you describe what it was like for us when this suspect was captured tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, it has been quite a day here, Allison. From early on today, where this town was so much like a war zone with deserted streets, massive armored vehicles, law enforcement dressed in full regalia going door to door, just a scene unlike I have never seen before. And then all of a sudden, after all of this, the news that an arrest had been made, you started hearing cheers through the crowd, and certainly toward the end, when the police law enforcement vehicles were exiting this scene, just an absolutely riotous applause from the people here in Watertown. There was a sense of relief. Many of the people I spoke with said they had felt such stress all day, locked inside their homes in fear, that they just felt they needed to get out and scream and yell and cheer. And I can tell you, many of them just felt wonderful doing it. And a lot of law enforcement officers, which is not always typical, sometimes they try to be very stoic, they're very professional, they've worked very hard, but you saw smiles and relief on their faces as well, occasionally waving on the crowd. At one point, a SWAT team vehicle rolled through here, and he got on his bullhorn as they were cheering, and whoever was in that vehicle said, "Thank you, it was our pleasure." Allison.
Seems like, Stacey, it's quieted down behind you just a little bit tonight. And I would imagine people are exhausted because this all started almost 24 hours ago and a lot of people hadn't been sleeping at all.
I think you're actually right. You know, it's very hard even to be in your home under the stress and threat of a very dangerous fugitive at large in your community. And so I think that was part of it. And yes, while there was that initial burst of elation, perhaps there's a few sleepy people here in Watertown. And, you know, I think they're going to sleep a lot easier tonight than they have recently.
Thank you so much for the latest there and your reporting today. We really appreciate it. All right. Well, let's move on. Talk about the weather. It was an active evening, to say the least.
Indeed. And there were a few, exciting moments. We had severe thunderstorm warnings, even a brief tornado warning across Prince George's County. But a few reports of damage here and there. Prince George's County, Upper Marlboro area reported a few little damage to homes and trees there. But by and large, we got by okay, and now the weather will be improving. So there you go. Let's get started looking at radar now and talk about, we'll start with a look at this tree again. This is the one in Buchanan Street, 1600 block. Bruce DePoit from News Channel 8 sent to us. So, I mean, that's what happens when the ground weakens, the rain weakens the structure of the integrity of the root system, and you get the strong wind gusts, 50, 60 miles per hour, and pop. These big old trees pop right out of the ground. Now the rain's moving out of the picture, off to the east. Still a few elements of moderate rain left east of the city and northeast. That will push out. Drier air is moving in. We can pick that out a couple of ways. First, we watch the temperatures starting to fall more noticeably north and west of town into the lower 50s, still upper 50s and upper 60s south and east of the city. So still a lot of warm, moist air supporting these ongoing showers. The winds, though, kind of give us a little clue. Southerly winds over southern Maryland and the shore, but northwesterly winds, D.C. metro area and points north and west. So we know the cold front is through, and along with the northwesterly winds delivering cooler and drier air. Look at the coolness in the air, 30s and 40s just to the west. And in addition to the air being cooler, it's significantly drier. This is the dew point map showing the true measurement of moisture in the air. And look at this sharp line. So that's about how close the dry air is to our area, just chasing on the backside of the rain. And that translates into this kind of image, and that is clearing skies. So the clearing trend will begin overnight. The rain will move out, the front will be through, and we'll wake up to some sunshine, a bit of a breeze in the morning, and through the day, and tomorrow and through the day on Sunday as high pressure moves in. We'll have partly cloudy skies tomorrow. It'll be breezy, much cooler, lower 60s, mostly sunny skies on Sunday, around 60 degrees, and the cool air is going to hang around probably through at least Wednesday of next week. So here's our story. Early in the morning, we'll wake up to partly cloudy, breezy, and cooler weather, 44 to 51 degrees. During the day, the temperatures will climb from the upper 50s to lower 60s, partly cloudy, a gusty northwesterly breeze, and the next 7 days keeps it cool. 61 degrees on Sunday. Now Monday may even turn a bit cooler with a few more clouds and a change in the wind direction, 58. Warm up a bit to 62 degrees, and then we get Wednesday, another front will come through with a chance of showers, high of 67. But what you'll notice in the 7 days, nothing like we had last week where we had 80s or 90s. It's going to stay a bit on the cool side here going forward the next few days, but at least the weekend should be nice and bright and breezy.
Very good. We got through tonight, so
it's going to be good.
Sailing. Okay, very good. How about sports?
Get a little chill. Feel like we're in Canada. That's where the Caps are tonight. And the Skins have they've evaluated their schedule. Wait till you hear what Niles Paul has to say about it. And the Nationals boot the ball. Mets boot them. Harvey outduels Strasburg, and I'll show you the highlights. All coming up next in sports.
And now the Toyota Sports Desk, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
Well, Steven Strasburg pitched 6 innings against the Mets tonight, but New York got a couple unearned in the first. It all started with a Desmond error. The Nats had bases loaded in the 7th, but couldn't capitalize, and they lose tonight. Let me take you back to New York. We'll pick it up in the bottom of the first. Strasburg, he goes into the dirt against David Wright. Suzuki can't block it. Valdespin scores. It was 1-0 Mets right out of the gates. Then in the bottom of the 6th, this is Ike Davis, the batter. Gets a fat ball from Strasburg, and he takes it to left center field. Back, a leadoff home run. It was 3-0 Mets, and that one was a souvenir. 2 pitches later, Lucas Duda gets the barrel on the ball, and that ball is tagged to right center field. It goes out. Steven Strasburg's record now drops to 1-3. Storen came in and pitched some batting practice against the Mets, and the Nats lose 7-1. All right, it's been 24 hours since the Redskins schedule has been released. You heard us last night. We were talking about what a tough schedule it is, but actually it ranks 18th in the NFL. So how does tight end Niles Paul feel about it?
First, I would like to thank RG3
That's one exciting player. You also got to thank our wide receiver core because they do some exciting stuff when they're out there making plays. But just our team, and they, people want to see us play now. So that's definitely an exciting feeling to have. So can't let them down.
Niles Paul talking about the 5 primetime games the Redskins have this year. And the Caps play in Montreal tomorrow. It's the Caps' final regular season road game of the year. And these final 4 games are important, with the Capitals leading Winnipeg now by only 2 points. They play Winnipeg here in the phone booth on Tuesday. We'll be right back with the rest of the news.
The rain's going to move out tonight. The weekend looks pretty good. Partly cloudy, breezy, cooler, lower 60s tomorrow. A bright sunny day. Still cool and sunny with highs in the lower 60s. I will take it.
Bring on the weekend, right?
Absolutely.
It's been a rough, difficult week for everybody, so we're looking forward to it. All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight. Jimmy Kimmel Live is next. Have a good night and a great weekend.
See you.